Hello, everyone. I'm Elena, and today we are doing something truly special. Today, there is no rushing. There is no pressure. There is no need to be anywhere or do anything except this. Today, you are going to sit down, get comfortable, and let the rain outside be your companion as we practice English together. This is Rainy Day English Shadowing, a full 90-minute calm and deep practice session designed specifically for B1 to B2 learners. So, before we begin, I want you to do something simple. Find a comfortable place to sit. Maybe near a window, maybe on your sofa, maybe wrapped in a blanket with something warm to drink. Wherever you are right now, make yourself completely comfortable, because today's practice is not about effort. It is about ease. It is about letting English flow into you slowly, gently, and deeply, just like the rain falling outside. In this session, you are going to shadow real English sentences about rainy days, cozy indoor moments, your thoughts and feelings, and the quiet beauty of a slow and peaceful day. You will train your brain to think in English, not through pressure or intensity, but through calm, consistent, and deeply relaxing practice. So, take a slow breath, settle into your seat, listen to the rain, and let's begin. I want you to start by simply listening, not just to my voice, but to everything around you right now. Maybe you can hear the rain outside. Maybe it is tapping gently on your window. Maybe it is falling steadily on the roof above you. Maybe the world outside looks gray and soft and beautiful in that particular way it only does on a rainy day. And I want you to take all of that in and let it make you feel safe, warm, and completely at ease. Because this is your space right now. This is your English practice space, and it is calm, quiet, and full of possibility. So, listen and shadow these opening sentences with me. I am sitting comfortably right now. The rain is falling outside. I can hear it tapping on the window. The world outside looks soft and gray and beautiful, and I feel completely at ease. Shadow it gently. I am sitting comfortably. The rain is falling outside. I can hear it on the window. The world looks soft and gray and beautiful. I feel completely at ease. Let those words settle into you as softly as the rain itself. Now, let's go a little deeper. Listen. There is something about a rainy day that makes everything feel slower, quieter, more peaceful, and I love that feeling. It gives me permission to stop rushing and simply be present. Shadow it. A rainy day makes everything feel slower, quieter, more peaceful. I love that feeling. It gives me permission to stop rushing and simply be present. Now, let's begin our first scenario together. Imagine you are sitting by a window with something warm to drink. Maybe a cup of tea, maybe coffee, maybe hot chocolate. Whatever your favorite warm drink is, imagine it in your hands right now. Feel the warmth of the cup. Smell the gentle aroma rising from it, and look out at the rain falling outside your window. This is one of the most beautiful and comforting experiences in daily life. And today, we are going to practice describing it in English. So listen and shadow with me. I am sitting by the window right now with a warm cup of tea in my hands. The rain is falling steadily outside. I can see the drops running down the glass, and everything feels wonderfully calm and still. Shadow it slowly. I am sitting by the window with a warm cup of tea. The rain is falling steadily. I can see the drops on the glass. Everything feels wonderfully calm and still. Beautiful. Now let's add more detail to this cozy window scene. Listen. The light outside is soft and gray today. There are no sharp shadows. Everything looks gentle and muted. And inside, where I am sitting, it feels warm and safe. I am glad to be indoors on a day like this. Shadow it. The light outside is soft and gray. There are no sharp shadows. Everything looks gentle and muted. Inside, it feels warm and safe. I am glad to be indoors today. Now let's practice describing your warm drink in more detail, because simple sensory descriptions like this are incredibly powerful for building natural English fluency. Listen. I am holding my cup with both hands. I can feel the warmth spreading through my fingers. I bring it close and breathe in the steam. It smells comforting and familiar. And when I take a slow sip, it warms me from the inside. Shadow it. I am holding my cup with both hands. I feel warmth spreading through my fingers. I breathe in the steam. It smells comforting and familiar. A slow sip warms me from the inside. These sensory sentences connect English directly to your physical experience, and that connection makes vocabulary stick in your memory far more effectively than any textbook exercise. Now let's practice a reflection on this cozy window moment. Listen. I love days like this. Days when I have nowhere to rush to, nothing urgent to deal with, and I can simply sit quietly and enjoy the simple pleasure of a warm drink and a rainy view. Shadow it. I love days like this. Nowhere to rush, nothing urgent. I sit quietly and enjoy a warm drink and a rainy view. Simple and beautiful English that feels completely natural and genuine. Now let's talk about the rain itself, because describing rain in English is a wonderful vocabulary exercise, and the English language has so many rich and expressive ways to talk about it. So listen carefully and shadow these rain descriptions with me. The rain outside is steady and gentle today. It is not a heavy storm. It is more like a soft and consistent shower that makes the whole world feel quieter. Shadow it. The rain is steady and gentle, not a heavy storm. More like a soft and consistent shower that makes the world feel quieter. Now let's try some more rain vocabulary. Listen. I can see the raindrops hitting the puddles on the street below. Each drop creates a tiny ripple that spreads outward and then disappears. It is actually quite mesmerizing to watch if you give it your full attention. Shadow it. I can see raindrops hitting the puddles. Each drop creates a tiny ripple that spreads outward and disappears. It is mesmerizing to watch with full attention. Now let's add one more beautiful rain description. Listen. The sound of rain has always been one of my favorite sounds. It is constant without being harsh, steady without being boring, and it has this wonderful ability to make everything feel more peaceful and more present at the same time. Shadow it. The sound of rain is one of my favorites. Constant without being harsh. Steady without being boring. It makes everything feel more peaceful and more present. Now I want you to take a slow, gentle breath, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel how relaxed your body is right now. Feel how calm your mind is becoming. This is exactly the state in which your brain learns English most effectively. When you are relaxed and present, new words and sentences enter your memory more easily and stay there longer. So do not rush. Do not pressure yourself. Simply listen, shadow, and allow the English to flow into you naturally and gently. Shadow this thought with me. When I am relaxed, I learn better. When I am calm, English flows more naturally. I do not need to force anything. I simply listen and allow the language to enter my mind. Shadow it. When I am relaxed, I learn better. When I am calm, English flows naturally. I do not force anything. I listen and allow the language to enter my mind. These are true and important words, and saying them during your practice helps your brain adopt the right mindset for deep and lasting learning. Now let's add a gentle motivation. Listen, today I am giving myself the gift of calm English practice. I am not rushing through this lesson. I am savoring it, taking my time, and enjoying every sentence I shadow. Shadow it. Today I am giving myself the gift of calm practice. I am not rushing. I am savoring it, taking my time, enjoying every sentence. Now let's continue sitting by our window together and practice some deeper descriptive English. Because the view from a window on a rainy day is never exactly the same twice. Every few minutes, something changes. The intensity of the rain shifts. A person walks past. The light adjusts slightly. And each of those small changes is a new English practice opportunity. So look toward your window now, or imagine looking toward it, and shadow these observational sentences with me. Listen. I have been sitting by this window for a while now, and I notice that the rain has changed slightly. It comes in waves, sometimes heavier, sometimes lighter. And watching those waves is strangely calming, like watching the tide come in and go out. Shadow it. I have been sitting here a while. The rain has changed slightly. It comes in waves, sometimes heavier, sometimes lighter. Watching those waves is strangely calming, like watching the tide. Now let's describe what is happening on the street below your window. Listen. The street outside has become very quiet since the rain started. Most people have gone inside. The few who are still out there are walking quickly, with their heads down and their collars turned up. And the occasional car passes slowly, its headlights reflecting on the wet road in a beautiful way. Shadow it. The street is very quiet since the rain started. Most people have gone inside. The few who are out walk quickly, with heads down and collars up. An occasional car passes slowly, headlights reflecting beautifully on the wet road. These detailed observational sentences build your descriptive fluency in a genuinely expressive and natural way. Now let's practice some English about how the rain affects your mood and energy. Because mood language is one of the most important and often overlooked areas of English fluency. Listen. I notice that my energy on rainy days is different from my energy on sunny days. On sunny days, I feel like going out, doing things, being active. But on rainy days, my energy turns inward. I feel more reflective, more thoughtful, more interested in ideas and feelings than in actions. Shadow it. My energy on rainy days is different from sunny days. On sunny days, I want to go out and be active. On rainy days, my energy turns inward, more reflective, more thoughtful, more interested in ideas and feelings than in actions. Now, let's add another mood reflection. Listen. And I have learned to appreciate both kinds of energy. The outward energy of bright days and the inward energy of gray ones. Because both have their own kind of value. Both teach me something different about myself. And both offer their own unique conditions for learning and growth. Shadow it. I appreciate both kinds of energy. The outward energy of bright days, the inward energy of gray ones. Both have their own value. Both teach me something different. Both offer unique conditions for learning and growth. These emotionally intelligent sentences show a beautiful level of self-awareness in English. Now let's move into our second scenario together. Imagine that after sitting by the window for a while, you decide to pick up a book or a journal. Maybe you are reading something you enjoy. Maybe you are writing down your thoughts. Maybe you are simply flipping through the pages of something that makes you feel good. Reading and reflecting indoors on a rainy day is one of life's most perfect, simple pleasures. And today, we are going to practice describing that experience in English. Listen and shadow. I have picked up a book that I have been meaning to read for a while. I settle back into my comfortable chair. The rain continues outside, and the room feels quiet and perfect for reading. Shadow it. I have picked up a book I have been meaning to read. I settle back into my chair. The rain continues outside. The room feels quiet and perfect for reading. Now let's continue this reading scene. Listen. I open the book to the first page, and something immediately draws me in. The words feel interesting and engaging. And I realize that I have been looking forward to this quiet reading time more than I knew. Shadow it. I open to the first page. Something draws me in immediately. The words feel interesting and engaging. I realize I have been looking forward to this quiet reading time. Now let's practice some reflective English. Because on a rainy day, our minds naturally turn inward. We think about our lives, our choices, our feelings. And being able to express those inner reflections in English is a sign of genuine and advanced fluency. So listen to these reflective sentences and shadow them with me. On a quiet, rainy day like this, I find it easier to think clearly. The noise of the outside world fades away, and I am left with my own thoughts. And I notice things about myself that I usually miss when life is busy and loud. Shadow it. On a quiet, rainy day, I think more clearly. The outside noise fades away. I am left with my own thoughts. I notice things I usually miss when life is busy. Now let's go deeper into this inner reflection. Listen, I have been thinking lately about my English journey, about how far I have come and how much further I want to go. And on a day like this, with nothing to distract me, I can really appreciate the progress I have made. Shadow it. I have been thinking about my English journey, how far I have come, how much further I want to go. On a day like this, I can really appreciate my progress. These reflective sentences build emotional fluency and self-awareness at the same time. Now let's practice some vocabulary about reading and learning, because these are topics that come up naturally in everyday English conversation, and they are especially relevant on a quiet indoor day like this one. Listen, I love the feeling of getting lost in a good book. When the story is engaging, I forget about everything else. Time passes differently. And when I finally look up, I am always a little surprised by how much time has gone by. Shadow it. I love getting lost in a good book. When the story is engaging, I forget everything else. Time passes differently. When I look up, I am surprised by how much time has gone by. Now, let's try some English about learning and personal growth. Listen, reading is one of the best ways to improve your English naturally. Every page introduces new vocabulary, new sentence structures, and new ways of expressing ideas. And the best part is that it does not feel like studying. It just feels like enjoying a good story. Shadow it. Reading is one of the best ways to improve English naturally. Every page introduces new vocabulary and new ways of expressing ideas. And it does not feel like studying. It just feels like enjoying a story. These are the kinds of authentic observations that make your English sound natural and thoughtful. Now let's practice some deeper conversational English that you might actually use when talking about books and reading with someone. Because being able to discuss what you read and what you think is an important part of intermediate fluency. Listen, someone asked me recently what kind of books I enjoy reading. And I told them that I love books that make me think about life differently. Books that introduce me to characters who experience the world in ways I never have. And books that leave me with something valuable long after I have finished reading them. Shadow it. Someone asked me what kind of books I enjoy. I told them I love books that make me think differently. Books that introduce characters who experience the world in new ways. Books that leave me with something valuable long after I finish. Now let's add one more book and conversation reflection. Listen, I also told them that I try to read in English as much as possible. Because reading in English helps me absorb vocabulary and sentence structure in the most natural way. I do not even notice I am learning sometimes. I am simply reading. And the English is entering my mind quietly and naturally, all by itself. Shadow it. I try to read in English as much as possible. It helps me absorb vocabulary and structure naturally. I do not even notice I am learning sometimes. I am simply reading. And the English enters my mind quietly, all by itself. These conversational sentences build real and practical speaking fluency. Now let's return to the window for a moment. The rain is still falling outside. Maybe it has gotten a little heavier. Maybe the sound on the glass is stronger now. Maybe the street outside is glistening with water and the puddles are growing wider. Let's practice describing this changing rain scene with more detail and expression. Listen. The rain has picked up a little since I first sat down. It is coming down more steadily now, and the sound against the window is louder and more rhythmic. I find it strangely comforting, like a natural soundtrack for a slow and peaceful day. Shadow it. The rain has picked up a little. It is coming down more steadily. The sound against the window is louder and more rhythmic. I find it strangely comforting, like a natural soundtrack for a slow and peaceful day. Beautiful. Now let's add a street scene description. Listen. Looking down at the street from my window, I can see that it is mostly empty now. A few people are hurrying past with umbrellas. Someone is walking a dog that does not seem bothered by the rain at all. And the whole scene has a quiet and cinematic quality that I really love. Shadow it. The street is mostly empty. A few people hurry past with umbrellas. Someone walks a dog that is not bothered by the rain. The scene has a quiet and cinematic quality I really love. Now let's practice some emotional vocabulary connected to rainy days. Because rain brings out a very particular set of feelings in most people. And being able to express those feelings naturally in English is a wonderful sign of fluency. Listen. Rainy days make me feel nostalgic. There is something about gray skies and falling rain that takes me back to memories of other rainy days, simpler times, quieter moments, and I find that strangely comforting rather than sad. Shadow it. Rainy days make me feel nostalgic. Gray skies and falling rain take me back to other memories, simpler times, quieter moments. I find that comforting rather than sad. Now let's try some more emotional rainy day expressions. Listen. I feel a particular kind of contentment on days like this. Not the exciting happiness of a sunny day out, but something quieter and deeper. A sense of being exactly where I am supposed to be, doing exactly what I am supposed to be doing. Shadow it. I feel a particular contentment on days like this. Not exciting happiness, something quieter and deeper. A sense of being exactly where I am supposed to be. These nuanced emotional sentences take your English to a genuinely expressive and sophisticated level. You are doing beautifully, and I hope you can feel how different this practice feels from a traditional English lesson. There is no stress here, no timer counting down, no test waiting at the end. Just you, the rain, and the gentle flow of English moving through your mind. Every sentence you shadow is quietly building your fluency. Every word you repeat is strengthening a new connection in your brain. And every calm and comfortable moment you spend here is making English feel more natural, more familiar, and more like a language you truly own. So let's keep going. Shadow this thought with me. This practice feels different from regular studying. There is no stress, no pressure, just calm and comfortable English flowing through my mind. Every sentence I shadow is building my fluency quietly and gently. Shadow it. This practice feels different. No stress, no pressure, just calm English flowing through my mind. Every sentence builds my fluency quietly and gently. Let those words remind you of the power of this gentle approach to learning. Now let's do a longer and more descriptive shadowing exercise about the cozy indoor rainy day experience. Listen to this fully first, and then shadow it with me, section by section. There is a particular magic to a rainy afternoon spent indoors. The light is soft and diffuse. The sounds of the outside world are muffled and distant. And inside, everything feels contained and warm and just right. I have my warm drink. I have my comfortable seat by the window. I have the sound of rain as my background music. And I have this beautiful language flowing through me. What more could I need? Now shadow it. There is a magic to a rainy afternoon indoors. The light is soft and diffuse. Outside sounds are muffled and distant. Inside, everything feels contained and warm and just right. I have my warm drink, my comfortable seat, the sound of rain as background music, and this beautiful language flowing through me. What more could I need? Let that sequence settle into you completely. Feel how naturally those sentences flow when you are actually living the experience they describe. Now let's practice talking about your daily life and routines. Because even on a slow and quiet rainy day, life continues in its gentle way. And being able to describe those simple daily moments in English is a foundation of real conversational fluency. Listen. On rainy days, I tend to slow down naturally. I move from one thing to another without rushing. I make my drinks more slowly. I read a little, I think a little, and I generally let the day unfold at its own pace, rather than trying to control it. Shadow it. On rainy days, I slow down naturally. I move without rushing. I make drinks more slowly. I read a little, I think a little. I let the day unfold at its own pace. These simple but genuine sentences capture the real texture of a quiet day beautifully. Now let's add another daily life reflection. Listen. I have noticed that I am more creative on rainy days. Something about the gray light and the sound of rain seems to open up a different part of my mind. Ideas come more easily. Thoughts feel more interesting. And I often do some of my best thinking on days like this. Shadow it. I am more creative on rainy days. The gray light and sound of rain open a different part of my mind. Ideas come more easily. Thoughts feel more interesting. I do some of my best thinking on days like this. Now let's practice some vocabulary about comfort and coziness, because these are words and expressions that come up constantly in natural English conversation, and they are especially relevant today. Listen. The word cozy is one of my favorite English words. It describes that feeling of being warm and comfortable and safe in a small and pleasant space. And that is exactly how I feel right now. Sitting here with my warm drink and the rain outside. Completely cozy. Shadow it. Cozy is one of my favorite English words. Warm and comfortable and safe in a small, pleasant space. That is exactly how I feel right now. Completely cozy. Now let's add some more comfort vocabulary. Listen. I am feeling very settled right now. That is another good English word. Settled. It means feeling calm and comfortable in your situation. Not anxious, not restless. Just at ease with where you are and what you are doing. Shadow it. I am feeling very settled right now. Settled means calm and comfortable in your situation. Not anxious, not restless. Just at ease with where you are and what you are doing. Learning vocabulary through real experience like this makes it stick in your memory in a deep and lasting way. Now, let's practice describing the sounds inside your room on a rainy day. Because sound vocabulary is one of the richest and most underused areas of English for intermediate learners. And today, surrounded by the sounds of rain and indoor comfort, is the perfect time to explore it. Listen. Inside this room, I can hear several different sounds all layered on top of each other. The rain on the window is the loudest. Then, underneath that, the occasional creak of the building settling, the soft sound of my own breathing, and somewhere further away, the faint sound of something warm bubbling on a stove. Shadow it. Inside this room, I can hear several sounds layered together. The rain on the window is loudest. Then the occasional creak of the building. The soft sound of my own breathing. Somewhere further away, the faint sound of something warm bubbling on a stove. Now, let's add one more interior sound description. Listen. Every now and then, the wind outside picks up and the rain hits the glass at a different angle. The sound changes for just a moment, more urgent and more intense, and then it settles back into its steady, gentle rhythm. And I love that small variation. It is like a little reminder that the weather outside is alive and changing, even when it looks and sounds the same from in here. Shadow it. Every now and then, the wind picks up and rain hits the glass at a different angle. The sound changes, more urgent and intense, then settles back into its rhythm. I love that small variation, a reminder that the weather outside is alive and changing. Now, let's move into our third scenario. Imagine you have moved away from the window and you are now sitting in your most comfortable spot in the room. Maybe it is an armchair. Maybe it is a corner of your sofa with cushions all around you. Maybe you have a blanket over your knees. And from here, you can still hear the rain outside, but you are even more deeply settled into your indoor comfort. This is the scenario of simply watching and listening to the rain from your cozy room. And it is one of the most peaceful and meditative experiences a rainy day can offer. Listen and shadow this scene with me. I have settled into my favorite spot in the room. I am surrounded by soft cushions. There is a blanket over my knees. And from here, the rain sounds even more beautiful, like it is playing just for me. Shadow it. I have settled into my favorite spot. I am surrounded by soft cushions. There is a blanket over my knees. The rain sounds even more beautiful from here, like it is playing just for me. Now, let's continue this cozy room scene. Listen. From where I am sitting, I can see the window, but I do not need to be right next to it anymore. I can simply listen to the rain and let my imagination fill in the picture of what is happening outside. Shadow it. From where I am sitting, I can see the window. I do not need to be right next to it. I simply listen to the rain and let my imagination fill in the picture outside. Now, let's practice some mindful listening in English. Because on a rainy day, sound becomes one of the richest sources of English practice. And training your ears to notice and describe what they hear is a powerful fluency exercise. Listen. I am closing my eyes for a moment and just listening. I can hear the rain on the window. I can hear it on the roof. I can hear it in the gutters. And underneath all of those sounds, there is a kind of gentle white noise that fills the whole room and makes everything feel deeply peaceful. Shadow it. I close my eyes and just listen. Rain on the window. Rain on the roof. Rain in the gutters. And underneath all of that, a gentle white noise that fills the room and makes everything feel deeply peaceful. Beautiful. Now, let's try another sound description. Listen. Every few seconds, a slightly heavier drop hits the glass and makes a sound that is just a little louder than the rest. And I find myself waiting for it without meaning to. It is like a small punctuation mark in the continuous rhythm of the rain. Shadow it. Every few seconds, a heavier drop hits the glass, a little louder than the rest. I find myself waiting for it without meaning to, like a small punctuation mark in the rhythm of the rain. These careful and attentive descriptions train your ear and your expression simultaneously. Now let's practice some English about your thoughts and feelings on this quiet, rainy afternoon. Because inner reflection is such an important part of authentic English expression, listen. I find that on quiet days like this, my mind naturally turns to gratitude. I feel grateful for warmth, for comfort, for the simple pleasure of having nowhere I need to be and nothing I need to do except sit here and enjoy this moment. Shadow it. On quiet days, my mind turns to gratitude. Grateful for warmth, for comfort, for the simple pleasure of having nowhere to be and nothing to do except enjoy this moment. Now let's go deeper into this grateful reflection. Listen. I am grateful for this English practice too, for the fact that I am spending this rainy afternoon doing something meaningful for myself, something that will make my life richer and my communication more confident and more clear. Shadow it. I am grateful for this English practice. I am spending this rainy afternoon doing something meaningful for myself, something that will make my life richer and my communication more confident and clear. These sentences of gratitude build both your emotional vocabulary and your sense of purpose as a learner. Now let's do a longer, sustained shadowing practice about the beauty of a rainy day seen from indoors. This is a more extended sequence, so listen to it fully first and then shadow it with me in sections. There is a kind of beauty in a rainy day that you can only truly appreciate from the inside. When you are warm and comfortable and safe, and the rain is doing its thing just beyond the glass. You get to experience the weather without being affected by it. You get all of the beauty and none of the discomfort. The gray light, the rhythmic sound, the wet and glistening world outside, and the deep satisfaction of being exactly where you want to be. Now shadow it in sections. There is a beauty in a rainy day you only appreciate from inside. When you are warm and safe, and the rain is just beyond the glass, you experience the weather without being affected by it. You get all the beauty and none of the discomfort. The gray light, the rhythmic sound, the wet, glistening world outside, and the satisfaction of being exactly where you want to be. Let that full sequence flow through you. Feel how expressive and rich that English is, and notice how naturally it comes when you are actually living the experience it describes. Now let's practice talking about your English learning journey in the context of this quiet and reflective day. Because rainy days are natural times for thinking about progress, goals, and the journey ahead. Listen. On a quiet day like this, I like to think about how my English has been developing. Not in a stressful way, just in a gentle and curious way. Wondering where I started, noticing where I am now, and imagining where I might be in a few months if I keep practicing consistently. Shadow it. On a quiet day, I like to think about how my English has been developing. Not stressfully, just gently and curiously. Where I started, where I am now, where I might be in a few months if I keep practicing. These reflective learning sentences are natural and authentic for any B1 to B2 learner. Now let's add another English journey reflection. Listen. One thing I have realized is that progress in English is not always visible from day to day. It builds slowly and quietly beneath the surface, like water soaking into the ground. And then one day you say something or understand something that surprises even yourself. And you realize the progress was happening all along. Shadow it. Progress in English builds slowly and quietly beneath the surface, like water soaking into the ground. And one day you say or understand something that surprises you. And you realize the progress was happening all along. This beautiful and honest reflection will resonate deeply with every learner who hears it. You are doing so well, and I hope this practice is feeling as good for you as it sounds, because this is exactly what deep and lasting fluency feels like. Not forced, not rushed, not anxious, just calm and consistent and genuine. The rain is still falling outside. Your warm drink is still there. Your comfortable spot is still holding you. And your English is quietly growing with every sentence you shadow. So let's keep going. Let's go even deeper into this beautiful rainy day practice together. Shadow this with me. My English is growing quietly and consistently with every sentence I shadow. I do not need to rush. I do not need to force anything. I simply need to show up, stay calm, and let the language come to me. Shadow it. My English is growing quietly with every sentence. I do not need to rush or force anything. I simply show up, stay calm, and let the language come to me. These words describe the perfect language learning mindset, and practicing them out loud makes that mindset more real and more accessible every time. Now let's practice some vocabulary about weather and seasons, because talking about weather is one of the most common topics in everyday English conversation. And going beyond simple descriptions to really rich and expressive weather language is a wonderful sign of B1 to B2 fluency. Listen. Autumn is my favorite season for rainy days. There is something about the combination of falling leaves and falling rain that feels especially beautiful and poetic. The colors are warmer even when the weather is gray, and the whole world seems to be settling into a quieter and more reflective mood. Shadow it. Autumn is my favorite season for rainy days. Falling leaves and falling rain feel beautiful and poetic together. The colors are warmer, even when the weather is gray. The whole world seems to settle into a quieter and more reflective mood. Now let's try some more seasonal and weather vocabulary. Listen. There are different kinds of rain, of course. There is the light drizzle of a spring morning that barely wets your hair. There is the heavy summer downpour that comes from nowhere and disappears just as quickly. And then there is this, the steady, persistent autumn rain that settles in for the whole day and transforms the world into something quieter and more contemplative. Shadow it. There are different kinds of rain. The light drizzle of a spring morning. The heavy summer downpour that comes and goes quickly. And this, the steady, persistent autumn rain that transforms the world into something quieter and more contemplative. This weather vocabulary is rich, expressive, and absolutely perfect for B1 to B2 learners. Now let's shift into talking about some of the things you enjoy doing on a rainy day, because talking about your preferences and hobbies is a fundamental part of everyday English conversation, and rainy days have their own special set of activities that most people love. Listen. On rainy days, I love to make a big pot of something warm. Maybe soup, maybe tea, maybe hot chocolate. And I love the process of making it as much as the drinking of it. The warmth of the kitchen, the smell of something good being prepared, the feeling of taking care of myself in a simple and nourishing way. Shadow it. On rainy days, I love to make something warm. Maybe soup, maybe tea, maybe hot chocolate. I love the process as much as the drinking. The warmth of the kitchen, the smell of something good, the feeling of taking care of myself in a simple and nourishing way. Now let's add another rainy day activity. Listen. I also love to listen to music on rainy days. Not energetic music, something slower and more atmospheric. Music that matches the mood of the rain and makes the whole experience feel even more intentional and beautiful. Shadow it. I love to listen to music on rainy days. Not energetic music, something slower and more atmospheric. Music that matches the mood of the rain and makes the experience feel intentional and beautiful. These preference sentences are natural, warm, and excellent for building authentic conversational fluency. Now let's practice describing the feeling of a rainy afternoon more deeply. Because we have been inside for a while now, and our relationship with the rain and the room has developed and deepened. Listen. I notice that as the afternoon continues, my body has become completely relaxed. My shoulders are low, my breathing is slow. The tension I carried into this day has quietly dissolved, and I feel a kind of softness in myself that I do not always feel on busier days. Shadow it. As the afternoon continues, my body has become completely relaxed. My shoulders are low, my breathing is slow. The tension has quietly dissolved. I feel a softness in myself I do not always feel on busier days. Now let's add a longer, extended reflection on this deeply relaxed afternoon state. Listen. There is something that happens to us when we truly rest, when we stop trying to be productive and simply allow ourselves to exist quietly in a comfortable space. Something in us releases, something we did not even know we were holding on to. And the rain outside helps that process. It gives us permission. It says, "Today the world is soft and quiet, and it is okay to be soft and quiet too." Shadow it. Something happens when we truly rest, when we stop trying to be productive and simply exist quietly. Something in us releases, something we did not know we were holding. And the rain gives us permission. It says, "The world is soft and quiet, and it is okay to be soft and quiet too." Let those words wash through you completely. Now let's practice some English about goals and personal motivation. Because even in the most restful moments, a part of us is always connected to our larger purpose and the things we want to achieve. Listen. Even on a slow day like this, I feel a quiet sense of purpose. I am not working toward my goals in a loud or effortful way right now, but I am still working toward them, quietly, gently, by taking care of myself and giving my mind the rest it needs to keep going. Shadow it. Even on a slow day, I feel a quiet sense of purpose. I am not working toward my goals loudly or effortfully, but I am still working toward them, quietly, gently, by taking care of myself and giving my mind the rest it needs. Now let's add one more motivation reflection. Listen. My biggest goal right now is to speak English with confidence and ease. And days like this remind me that the path to that goal is not always about intense studying. Sometimes it is about creating the right conditions, a calm mind, a relaxed body, and a patient and consistent approach. Shadow it. My biggest goal is to speak English with confidence and ease. Days like this remind me that the path is not always about intense studying. Sometimes it is about creating the right conditions, a calm mind, a relaxed body, a patient and consistent approach. These purposeful sentences connect your restful day directly to your language learning ambitions. Now let's practice some English about friendship and connection. Because even on a quiet and solitary rainy day, our minds often wander to the people we care about. And being able to talk about your relationships and your feelings toward others is a deeply important part of natural English fluency. Listen. On quiet days like this, I often think about the people I love. I wonder what they are doing, whether they are having a good day. And I feel a warmth in my chest when I think about them, even though they are not here right now. Shadow it. On quiet days, I often think about the people I love. I wonder what they are doing, whether they are having a good day. I feel warmth in my chest thinking about them, even though they are not here. Now let's add a conversational reflection about friendship. Listen. I love having the kind of friends you can sit in comfortable silence with. The kind of friends where you do not need to fill every moment with conversation. where you can just be together, each doing your own quiet thing, and feel completely comfortable and connected. Shadow it. I love friends you can sit in comfortable silence with. Friends where you do not need to fill every moment with conversation. Just be together, each doing your own quiet thing, and feel comfortable and connected. These warm and expressive sentences build a rich emotional vocabulary. Now let's move into our fourth and final scenario for today. Imagine that the afternoon has slowly turned into evening. The rain is still falling outside, but the light has changed. It is softer and darker now. The lamps inside your room are on, and they cast a warm and golden glow over everything. Maybe you have moved from your reading spot to somewhere even more comfortable. Maybe you have made a final warm drink for the evening. Maybe you are feeling that beautiful tiredness that comes from a slow and peaceful day well spent. This is the evening rain scenario, the gentle winding down of a perfect rainy day. And we are going to practice describing it in calm and beautiful English. Listen and shadow. The afternoon has turned into evening. The light outside has changed. It is darker and softer now. Inside, the lamps are on, and everything glows warm and golden. I am settling into the evening, feeling calm and content. Shadow it. The afternoon has turned to evening. The light is darker and softer. The lamps are on inside. Everything glows warm and golden. I am settling into the evening, feeling calm and content. Now let's describe the evening rain more specifically, because evening rain has a different quality from afternoon rain. It is darker, more mysterious, and somehow even more beautiful. Listen. The rain in the evening sounds different from the rain in the afternoon. Maybe it is because everything else is quieter now. The street outside is emptier. The world has slowed down even further, and the sound of the rain on the window feels more intimate somehow, like a private conversation between the weather and the glass. Shadow it. Evening rain sounds different from afternoon rain. Everything else is quieter. The street is emptier. The world has slowed even further. The rain on the window feels more intimate, like a private conversation between the weather and the glass. Beautiful. Now let's add some more evening atmosphere. Listen. I can see a few lights in the windows of the buildings across the street. Other people settling into their evenings. Other warm rooms with other quiet lives inside them. And there is something very comforting about that. Knowing that all around me people are winding down, resting, and finding their own versions of this quiet evening peace. Shadow it. I can see lights in the windows across the street. Other people settling into their evenings. Other warm rooms. Other quiet lives. Something very comforting about knowing people around me are winding down and finding their own quiet peace. Now let's practice some evening reflection English, because evenings naturally invite us to look back over the day and think about what we experienced and felt. And that kind of reflective language is some of the most beautiful and expressive English you can practice. Listen. As I sit here in the evening, I find myself thinking about the day. It was a quiet day, a gentle day, a day without any great events or achievements. And yet, somehow, it feels like one of the most satisfying days I have had in a while. Shadow it. As I sit here in the evening, I think about the day. It was quiet, gentle, without great events or achievements. And yet, it feels like one of the most satisfying days I have had in a while. Now let's go deeper into this evening reflection. Listen. I think the days we remember most fondly are not always the busiest or the most productive ones. Sometimes it is the slow days, the rainy days, the days when we gave ourselves permission to just be. Those are the days that restore us. Shadow it. The days we remember most fondly are not always the busiest. Sometimes it is the slow days, the rainy days, the days when we gave ourselves permission to just be. Those are the days that restore us. These reflective and philosophical sentences are deeply beautiful, and they showcase exactly the kind of expressive English that makes a B1 to B2 learner sound truly fluent. Now let's practice some evening routine English, because talking about your evening habits and routines is a natural and common topic in everyday conversation. Listen. In the evenings, I try to wind down gradually. I make something warm to drink. I turn down the lights a little. I put on some quiet music, or sometimes no music at all. And I let my mind and body slowly prepare for rest. Shadow it. In the evenings, I wind down gradually. I make something warm. I turn down the lights. I put on quiet music, or sometimes no music at all. I let my mind and body slowly prepare for rest. Now let's add some more evening vocabulary. Listen. I have been trying lately to make my evenings more intentional, not filling every moment with screens and noise, but creating a little space for quiet and calm before I sleep. And I have noticed that when I do this, I sleep better and I wake up feeling more refreshed and ready for the day ahead. Shadow it. I have been making my evenings more intentional, not filling every moment with screens and noise, creating space for quiet and calm before sleep. I sleep better and wake up more refreshed. These practical and authentic sentences resonate with so many learners because they reflect real and relatable daily experience. Now let's practice some deeper evening English, because there is something about the combination of rain and evening that creates a very specific and very beautiful atmosphere. And exploring that atmosphere in English is a genuinely rich and expressive practice. Listen. There is a word in English that describes this feeling perfectly. The word is tranquil. Tranquil means peaceful and undisturbed, and that is exactly what this rainy evening feels like to me. Tranquil in the deepest and most genuine sense of the word. Shadow it. There is a word that describes this feeling perfectly. Tranquil. Tranquil means peaceful and undisturbed, and that is exactly what this rainy evening feels like. Tranquil in the deepest and most genuine sense. Now let's add some more rich evening vocabulary. Listen. Another word that comes to mind on an evening like this is serene. Serene means calm and peaceful in a way that is beautiful to look at or experience. The rainy street outside looks serene. This warm and quiet room feels serene. And I, sitting here with my blanket and my warm drink, feel serene too. Shadow it. Another word is serene. Calm and peaceful in a way that is beautiful to experience. The rainy street looks serene. This room feels serene. And I, with my blanket and warm drink, feel serene too. Learning rich vocabulary words like tranquil and serene in the context of a real and lived experience makes them yours forever. Now, let's do another extended shadowing sequence. This one is about the feeling of a rainy evening from the inside. Listen to it fully first. There is something uniquely beautiful about a rainy evening spent indoors. The contrast between the dark and wet world outside and the warm and glowing world inside makes everything feel more precious somehow, more intentional. Like you have built a little sanctuary for yourself, and the rain outside is keeping everything else at bay. You are protected, you are warm, you are at peace, and you are spending this time doing something genuinely good for yourself. Now shadow it in sections. There is something uniquely beautiful about a rainy evening indoors. The contrast between the dark, wet world outside and the warm, glowing world inside makes everything feel more precious, more intentional, like you have built a little sanctuary. The rain is keeping everything else at bay. You are protected, warm, at peace, and spending this time doing something genuinely good for yourself. Let every word of that sequence settle into you deeply and completely. Now let's practice talking about sleep and rest in English. Because on a rainy evening, the thought of sleep is often very close. And being able to talk about rest and the end of a day in natural English is a beautiful and useful skill. Listen. On rainy evenings, I always sleep more easily. There is something about the sound of rain that makes falling asleep feel completely natural and effortless. It is like the rain is singing me to sleep, telling me that the day is done and it is safe to rest. Shadow it. On rainy evenings, I sleep more easily. The sound of rain makes falling asleep feel natural and effortless, like the rain is singing me to sleep, telling me the day is done and it is safe to rest. Now let's add some more sleep and rest vocabulary. Listen, I am looking forward to tonight, to pulling my blankets close and listening to the rain from the warmth of my bed, to letting go of the day completely and drifting off to sleep with the sound of rainfall as my lullaby. Shadow it. I am looking forward to tonight, pulling my blankets close, listening to rain from the warmth of my bed, letting go of the day completely, drifting off with rainfall as my lullaby. These beautiful and evocative sentences are perfect for the end of a long and peaceful rainy day practice. Now, let's practice some English about gratitude and appreciation. Because gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions we can express in any language. And rainy evenings have a way of making us feel especially grateful for the simple and beautiful things in life. Listen, I feel genuinely grateful tonight. Grateful for warmth, for shelter, for the simple comfort of a quiet room on a rainy evening. And grateful for this English practice that has made this day feel meaningful and purposeful and rich. Shadow it. I feel genuinely grateful tonight. Grateful for warmth, for shelter, for the comfort of a quiet room on a rainy evening. And grateful for this English practice that made this day feel meaningful and purposeful and rich. Now, let's add one more gratitude reflection. Listen, I am grateful for the rain too. It might sound strange, but I really am. It slowed everything down today. It gave me permission to be still, and it created the perfect conditions for this deep and beautiful English practice. So thank you, rain. Shadow it. I am grateful for the rain too. It slowed everything down. It gave me permission to be still. It created perfect conditions for this deep English practice. So thank you, Rain. These heartfelt sentences add genuine emotional depth and warmth to your English expression. Now, let's practice one more extended evening conversation practice. Because being able to have a natural and warm conversation about a quiet day is a real skill. And practicing it here, in this calm and relaxed state, makes it easier to access in real life. Listen, if someone called me right now and asked how my day was, I would tell them it was exactly the kind of day I needed. I stayed indoors. I listened to the rain. I read a little. I rested a lot. And I practiced my English in the most peaceful and natural way I can imagine. Shadow it. If someone called and asked how my day was, I would say it was exactly what I needed. I stayed indoors. I listened to the rain. I read a little. I rested a lot. And I practiced English in the most peaceful way I can imagine. Now, let's add one more evening conversation reflection. Listen. And if they asked whether I felt like I had wasted the day by staying in and doing nothing too demanding, I would say absolutely not. Because rest is never wasted, and learning is never wasted. And a day spent doing both of those things gently and intentionally is one of the most valuable days you can have. Shadow it. Rest is never wasted. Learning is never wasted. A day spent doing both gently and intentionally is one of the most valuable days you can have. These confident and wise sentences build both fluency and a healthy perspective on rest and learning. Now, as we approach the final section of our practice, let's do one more long and flowing shadowing exercise that brings together all 4 of our rainy day scenarios: the window, the reading, the cozy room, and the evening. Listen to this complete reflection fully first. Today was a rainy day, and it was a perfect day. I started by sitting by the window with something warm in my hands and watching the world outside turn gray and soft. Then I settled in with a book and let my mind wander through its pages while the rain kept steady rhythm on the glass. Then I moved to my most comfortable spot and simply listened, simply breathed, simply existed in the warmth and quiet of my own space. And now, as evening has come and the rain continues its gentle persistence outside, I find myself feeling full. Not full from eating, but full in the way that only comes from a day spent slowly, intentionally, and peacefully. Now shadow it in sections. Today was a rainy day, and it was a perfect day. I started by the window with something warm, watching the world turn gray and soft. I settled in with a book, while rain kept steady rhythm on the glass. I moved to my most comfortable spot and simply listened, breathed, existed in warmth and quiet. And now, as evening comes and rain continues outside, I feel full, not from eating, but full in the way that only comes from a day spent slowly, intentionally, and peacefully. Let that beautiful sequence live inside you completely. Now, let's practice some final evening English about your goals and your English journey looking forward. Because even on the most peaceful and restful of days, there is always a quiet part of us that is thinking about tomorrow and the days ahead. Listen. As this rainy day comes to an end, I find myself thinking about tomorrow. Not with anxiety, but with a gentle curiosity, wondering what the day will bring, what conversations I might have, what new words I might encounter, and how my English will continue to grow and develop with each new day of practice. Shadow it. As this rainy day ends, I think about tomorrow. Not with anxiety, but with gentle curiosity. What the day will bring, what conversations I might have, what new words I might encounter, how my English will continue to grow with each new day. Now, let's add one final forward-looking reflection. Listen. I know that every time I practice English, even on a slow and quiet, rainy day like this one, I am making real and meaningful progress. It might not always feel dramatic or obvious, but it is happening. Quietly, consistently, like the rain itself. Steady and persistent, and always moving forward. Shadow it. Every time I practice English, I make real and meaningful progress. It might not feel dramatic or obvious, but it is happening. Quietly, consistently, like the rain itself. Steady and persistent, and always moving forward. What a perfect image for your English journey. Now we are in the final and most beautiful part of today's practice. I want you to slow down even further now. Let your body sink a little more deeply into wherever you are sitting. Let your eyes become soft. Let your breathing become slow and deep and completely natural. And as the rain continues outside, let's shadow these final sentences together with all the calm and ease that this beautiful rainy day has given us. Listen. I am at peace right now. I am warm and comfortable and completely at ease. The rain is still falling outside, and its sound fills me with a deep and quiet contentment. I have practiced my English today. I have given myself something valuable, and I feel proud and grateful for this time. Shadow it slowly and gently. I am at peace. I am warm and comfortable and completely at ease. The rain is still falling, and its sound fills me with deep, quiet contentment. I have practiced my English today. I have given myself something valuable. I feel proud and grateful for this time. Now, let's add our final reflection. Listen. Today, I learned that English does not always have to feel like work. It can feel like rest. It can feel like warmth. It can feel like the sound of rain on a window on a quiet afternoon. And when it feels like that, it becomes a part of you in the deepest and most lasting way possible. Shadow it one final time. English does not always have to feel like work. It can feel like rest, like warmth, like the sound of rain on a window on a quiet afternoon. And when it feels like that, it becomes a part of you in the deepest and most lasting way. Let those final words stay with you, like the sound of the rain itself. You have completed your full 90-minute Rainy Day English shadowing session. And I hope that from the very first sentence to this very last one, you felt the difference between this kind of practice and any other kind of English lesson you have ever had. Today, you did not study English. You lived it. You felt it. You breathed it in with every calm and peaceful breath you took during this session. You described the rain on your window, the warmth of your drink, the comfort of your favorite chair, the glow of your evening lamp. You practiced window descriptions and street observations. You reflected on reading and personal growth. You explored your cozy room and the sounds within it. You described an evening full of tranquility and serenity. And you talked about friendship, gratitude, goals, rest, and the beautiful journey of learning English naturally and gently. And you did all of it in English, beautifully, naturally, and with genuine ease. That is what real fluency looks and feels like, and you experienced it today. If this rainy day practice brought you calm, comfort, and real English growth, please make sure you subscribe to English in Moments and turn on your notifications. We publish new English learning content every single day designed to help you improve faster, speak more naturally, and feel more confident in every conversation. Whether the sun is shining or the rain is falling, we will always be here with a new lesson waiting for you. Keep practicing, keep shadowing, keep believing in yourself and in the quiet and powerful progress you are making every single day. I will see you in the next lesson, and until then, enjoy the rain,